1939, 1989, the year 2039. The electronic time machine continues. Here again are Forrest Sawyer and Paula Zahn.
Scientists are fond of telling us that technology is neither good nor evil. It simply exists, like a genie let out of the bottle, waiting for our commands. Tonight, we've shown you the benefits of technology in a future world, the sun harness, the mysteries of our genetic code finally solved.
But what if we aren't careful? What if, in our rush toward greater scientific knowledge, we do nothing to solve the growing epidemic of crime and violence in America? We've used the visions we've found in films to help create a world futurists say could exist 50 years from now. Brace yourselves. Our time machine is setting down next in a twilight country, still called the United States, but it's like no place you've ever seen before. In 2039 will be a crowded world, the population twice what it is now, and it will be divided. The rich enjoying the advances of science, the poor struggling to survive.
Because people are so tightly put together, so tightly welded electronically, the places that flourish in the 21st century will look like Japan. The places that don't flourish will look like Beirut. It's all neighborhoods and essentially drug gangs, narco-terrorists, groups who are crossed. They're just a boiling mess of religion and ethnic hatred and black market profit and political manipulation. And no one dares to go in.
In fact, 2039 will be a strange combination of order and violence, a haunting mix of decay and high tech. And behind it all, for good and for bad, will be the driving power of computers.
Attention all stations, I have a temporary blockage affecting...
Machines with almost human intelligence will form a global tracking network, monitoring everything from financial transactions to secret corporate strategies. Information will become the world's most precious commodity.
Computers are going to be both the greatest crime generators and greatest crime solvers of the future. They are going to open up whole new technologies in terms of stealing, in terms of blackmail, in terms of theft of trade secrets that we probably haven't even dreamt of today.
The criminal hackers of 1989 will evolve into a new, even more dangerous breed. Outlaws who specialize in breaking through electronic security systems. It'll be a game played by thieves, and even by the most dangerous criminals of all, terrorists.
The ultimate fear would be that somebody would tamper with defense-related computer system, perhaps, and trigger off World War III, or use the Star Wars defense if it's ever put in place for offense. You know, you've got a lot of power in a computer, and obviously if it's misused, that certainly would be something to worry about.
But the wired game of electronic crime will still be played only by the wealthy and the educated. Past the glow of the computer terminals, out in the troubled city streets, America will be a war zone.
There's going to be violent crime in 39. Individually, the people who commit the crime are going to be very much more violent than they are now.
Gangs will roam burned-out sections of cities, fighting for territory, trafficking in information, stolen property, the latest designer drugs.
And the future drugs won't make you high. They'll make you superhuman. The coming thing in drugs is performance enhancers, not intoxicants.
Tomorrow's criminal will not only be armed with improved vision, strength, and reflexes, he'll also have weapons today's lawbreaker can only dream of. In order to stand against this wave of violence, the police in 2039 may come to look more like the Army, prepared for anything, from drug raids to riots. Surveillance systems will be far more advanced.
Got all the
was on tape. I got every word of it.
Good.
In fact, in 1989, infrared tracking is already so advanced, it can detect the small glow of a cigarette 200 feet away. Listening devices can hear through solid brick walls.
Walk down the main street.
Satellites 300 miles in the air can track the movements of a single individual.
An important point about future surveillance is that locational tracking will be very, very easy. I think a second trend that we'll see is a shift toward machines doing the surveillance rather than human beings.
I have not received the menu for tomorrow.
Those robots you saw earlier, designed to help you at home,
This concludes the menu for today.
will also serve as the new front line in the war on crime. Intelligent, mobile, designed to handle the riskiest assignments.
Here's a policeman with the nose of a German Shepherd, with the strength and shielding. You're not going to have a condition where there's open crack dealing on the streets in a neighborhood. The robots just wouldn't allow that.
As far-fetched as it may sound, what we have so far seen only in the movies may become reality. Cyborgs, part human, part machine. One thing appears almost certain. The heart of police operations in 2039 will be an extraordinary system of electronic intelligence gathering and analysis. Laser beams are already being used to lift what would be undetectable fingerprints from crime scene evidence. That evidence will be examined by stunningly sophisticated computers.
This system would be advanced enough simply to identify the suspects, do all the information required to establish probable cause that a violation has occurred, write the affidavit, present the evidence to a U.S. attorney, and recommend prosecution.
That same computer system will be working to help officers in the field. Now take a look at this device, which is now in development and could become standard equipment in every police car. All an arresting officer has to do is place a suspect's finger here, and instantly a fingerprint and a mugshot are sent to the central computer. 60 seconds later, he receives a complete conviction record. In a world where both high-tech and violent crime are epidemic, what price will we pay for our safety? Will vigilantes prowl our neighborhoods? Will our homes become armed camps, sealing out an ever more frightening landscape? Will 2039 be a place we no longer recognize?
A retinal identification check is required to proceed.
You won't need identity cards in 2039. Your eyes, your voice, even your genetic code, DNA, will be used to prove who you are. Already, investigators are tracking suspects through the tiniest traces of skin or blood left at a crime scene. 50 years from now, the authorities will be able to monitor you from birth.
I think we'll see biological loyalty oaths, where extensive analysis of your physiological system will be done to determine your drug status, your psychological status, and perhaps even your tendency to engage in certain kinds of deviant or illegal forms of behavior.
The most serious and depressing problem will be that the freedoms that we've once enjoyed and become accustomed to as American citizens will no longer be there for us.
With our genetic histories recorded, our conversations overheard, our financial records stored in computer files, the very idea of privacy may disappear. And in our struggle against a rising tide of crime, society may go one step further.
Watch for a man running through the streets, repeating, calling all citizens.
This is City Probe Scanner. We've run across some illegal sexual activity.
Thank you for your assistance in crime prevention.
It's quite possible that we will move towards a society where we are told it's an aspect of good citizenship to watch our neighbors, to watch our family members. So perhaps the people that you live with would be watching you, your office mates would be watching you, the taxi driver would be watching you.
There will be no place to hide. There will be no place to escape your past. When technology defines your identity, it's much more difficult just to forget and start over. You don't really have that option anymore.
A child born today will be 50 years old in 2039. His world then will be shaped not only by the technologies we are now creating, but by how we decide to use them. Experts tell us that nightmare landscape of 2039 is a very real possibility. But it's only that, one of a vast array of potential worlds. We move closer to one of those worlds with every decision we make. Between us and our new home in 2039 is a frightening terrain of problems, so challenging, we're forced to ask a question we humans have never had to face before. Are we going to get there at all?
Now we're going to set our time machine for the near future, for tomorrow morning, so we can look at these problems and decisions in the light of a new day.
And we'll take that journey next.